Gospel and homily for Sunday 20A. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus left Gennesaret and withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. Then out came a Canaanite woman from the district, and she started shouting, "Sir, Son of David, take pity on me. My daughter is tormented by a devil." But he answered her not a word. And his disciples went and pleaded with him. "Give her what she wants," they said, "because she's shouting after us." He said in reply, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But the woman had come up and was kneeling at his feet. "Lord," she said, "help me." He replied, "It's not fair to take the children's food and to throw it to the house dogs." She retorted, "Ah, yes, sir, but even house dogs can eat the scraps that fall from the master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, you have great faith. Let your wish be granted." And from that moment her daughter was well again. The Gospel of the Lord. If you were here last week, you will remember Peter was chided by Jesus because of his lack of faith and trust. You remember he was sinking in the boat, and Jesus said, "Why did you doubt, you man of little faith?" Today, in contrast, he praises the Canaanite woman for her steadfast faith. And again, last Sunday, Jesus invites Peter onto the turbulent waters of the Sea of Galilee. Today is the exact opposite. He seems to ignore the woman completely and keep her at a distance. In both cases, there is a testing of faith going on. Peter fails miserably the test, and the Canaanite woman scores with flying colours. This woman, I believe, stands for all those whose prayers seem to come up against a wall of stony silence. Remember, the Gospel tells us that Jesus answered the woman not a word. Even though pressed by the apostles, he seems strangely uninterested, but she is not easily put off. There was an article last year sometime in the national newspaper of Mother Teresa, Saint Mother Teresa now of Calcutta, where it stated that she struggled with her prayer life on many occasions as a nun. She was even tempted to leave the convent. God seemed so far away. Like the woman in today's gospel, her prayers seemed to go unheeded. We would maybe call it her going through the dark night of the soul, as St. John of the Cross wrote about. Despite all this, she hung on doggedly to her faith and never let up on helping the poor of Calcutta, because when she used to go out onto the street, she'd pick up the dying people, bring them to the hospice, and over their bed would be written the words in large print, "This is the body of Christ." So what she lacked in prayer, she really made up for in her everyday work among the very poor of Calcutta. It appears to me that the closer we're drawn to God, the more distant he may appear. Of course, in reality, God is anything but distant. Without him, we would cease to exist. And as we say in the Mass, as we'll say today during the preface, in him we live and move and have our being. When he puts off answering us, it must be in our best interests. It's like when a woman is pursued by a lover. She often plays hard to get and deliberately keeps him at arm's length. If he loves her, he won't be so easily put off. The Canaanite woman is at first frozen out by Jesus, but the story shows that her faith in him was not based on a whim. Even when he gives the impression of avoiding her, to the annoyance, of course, the great annoyance of the apostles, she pursues him even more. She even goes right up in front of him and kneels down before him, putting these apostles to shame, I would say. But Jesus himself must have felt a bit like that on the cross. So what the woman went through, maybe Jesus himself went through as regards his Father, when he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" This line, actually taken straight from the Psalms, was more a prayer of desperation from someone in great distress rather than a cry of despair, as some people make out. It was nothing of the sort. It was a cry, a prayer of desperation for someone in great distress. When we sometimes get the sense that God is paying no attention to us, that's the time to imitate the Canaanite woman who stuck to her guns, come what may. Her persistence, of course, was amply rewarded. Yes, we may have urgent needs to pray about. Remember, the woman's prayer was that the devil would stop tormenting her daughter. Maybe here today, the devil is using other people to torment you. And that would be an urgent request. Why? Because Jesus came to overcome the power of the devil. He even said so himself. So how could Jesus turn down the request to stop this demon tormenting her daughter? Now, if we have a pressing need which hasn't yet been answered in prayer, our faith is likely to be tested like the woman's was, like gold in the furnace. If we fail the first test, like Peter did last Sunday when he was sinking beneath the water, I'm sure he'll afford us further opportunities to prove our mettle if we haven't already given up on him and walked away. That's what the Lord doesn't want us to do. The woman from Canaan has a great deal to teach us. Thank you all very much for listening, and God bless you all.